Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest. Book special number 26 of Beast Quest. Byzara the Horned Dragon. And I've gotta say, this is easily one of the best specials Beast Quest has ever done. Easily. It's up there. I don't know where I rank this compared to the other ones, but when I redo this without him at some point in the future, it's gonna be somewhere good, I would imagine. So let's get through this. Again, my room has changed a bit since last time, so it's going to be a bit different. Operish. You can't see on camera, but off camera, the notes are facing one direction and the camera's facing the other way. So I'll be looking back and forth, but you won't know it. But still, let's try our best to get through this. Let's get this. Like always, in-depth story analysis and my overall thoughts on this epic adventure. So let's get on with it. Tom and friends are heading to the neighbouring town that needed their help from some warriors. Hugo came along too, to try and sort the matter out peacefully, and as we progressed we also learned the legend of a dragon. Anyway, our heroes came across Rudiger, a man from the neighbouring town. He escorted them to his boat when they were suddenly approached by a big vessel. Also, a nice plus to see Storm back. He's not in it all the way through, sadly, but he's in it for the first, one or two chapters. And another thing, I'll mention this later. But yeah, it's nice to see Storm back again. I wish Silver was there, but still, not bad. We're introduced to Venga, a warrior of the other tribe. She didn't care who King Hugo was and said she would only let them pass if the king let one person go with him with no weapons. So obviously Tom was selected and off they went. Mind you, they bring Harkman along and I don't know why, because it's only Tom, but whatever. Let's see. Where was I at? While Daltek used his magic to track them down, and they discovered Venga had a fortress with more weapons than she needed to hold back the neighbouring town, was something else going on? I should mention while Tom did drop his sword and shield, he still has his jeweled belt. Hugo, Tom, and Hartman, who I only know now was realised that he was with them, were escorted to their rooms. As this time we learn Venga is King Hugo's daughter, so I guess that makes her a princess. And we also see a tapestry of Hartha fighting the Dragon of Legend. Daltek contacted Tom saying he was communicating via magic ring. Tom explained he felt his red jewel give off a strange presence, meaning a beast was near. A few minutes later, Venga took our heroes to the dining table where they saw Hartha, who appeared younger than his own daughter. Hogman played dumb, trying to get some info, but that caused a quarrel to break out and Hartha and Venga left. But Daltek and Eleanor knew something evil was afoot. So, good progression there. Good progression so far. Let's see. Eleanor and Daltek contacted Tom and advised him to secretly find out what was going on. After some sneaking, he spotted an old man who had a beast egg, and after a close encounter with the egg, the elder regained his youth, revealing it to be Hoffa. Hayfor, however you pronounce his name. Now Tom, Daltek, and Eleanor knew what was going on. However, Venga caught him, and Hoffa knocked Tom out. Eleanor and Daltek took Rudiger's boat and told him if they want back to send message to Queen Aroha. So our duo tried to get into the fortress, but a large vessel destroyed their rowboat. They abandoned ship and headed around, discovering dead corpses of sheep. Daltek pointed out only a beast could have done this, meaning the beast was near. It was good to see that they had Tom's weapons, because they did prove useful as they progressed around the area. Eleanor and Daltek met a couple in a cave and explained about Byzara, the legendary dragon who would come around killing anyone at night time. After a bit of panic, our duo used their vision magic to tend to Tom. He was on trial. Hugo and Hartman tried to defend Tom, but Hartha was not having any of it. Then Tom claimed he figured out Hartha's scheme, that he stole the egg after fighting the dragon and used its power to keep himself young, which would explain why Byzara would attack their animal stock and why they were at war with the neighbouring town. They were stealing their food stock because the dragon had already destroyed their own, also explaining the large quantity of weapons. Hartha threw a hissy fit and sentenced Tom to death at Skull Rock, while Hugo and Harkman were put into the dungeons, which means Daltek and Eleanor had to race to the rescue. Assuming Tom's theory is true, which it probably is, this is basically the immortal story. A person afraid of death who wants to keep his youth, finds a MacGuffin to do, and will do whatever it takes to keep that youth, no matter what the consequences. Example being Disney's Tangled. Our duo headed off to Skull Rock, but it was too late as the others bet them there. Tom was chained up, nice reference to Peter Pan, with the location being Skull Rock, and another Clash of the Titans reference with a character chained to a rock. Anyway, Tom gave Harper one more chance to return the egg, but typical, he declined. Now discovering the power of Tom's belt, he used it to talk to Byzara and put the blame on Tom for the theft of the egg, and he claimed that Tom killed it. He planned to kill Tom for her, but Byzara wanted that honor to herself. Eleanor and Daltic tried to stop her, but it was too late. Tom caught fire and burned to death. Of course. Turns out Tom wasn't dead, but we do learn the true power of Byzara. Her fire breath can take away age or add age, which of course we kind of already figured out with her child, because that kind of gave it away. But yes, her breath has a special fire. It doesn't kill, but it doesn't kill them, but puts them in a worse state. Yeah, I think this is a worse state, worse than death, like losing your age or taking away your age or gaining more age. It's kind of a bit of a fucked up thing to do, I would say. A worse state it takes away, yeah. But like I said, that power, it's going to be really useful in Battle of the Beasts. Also, another reference with Doctor Who, the lead is turned old by the bad guy, and it's up to a female psychic to save the day. The only way to heal Tom was to get the egg back. While Daltic looked after Tom, Eleanor went for the egg, which is awesome because it allows Eleanor to get the spotlight for a change. We don't see much of. Also nice to see Daltic as well in there. Eleanor scuffled around until she found her way back into the fortress. She encountered Venga, who tried to get through to her. Venga did feel the same, it seemed. She says the egg has poisoned her dad's mind. He doesn't care about anyone else but the egg. Now, personally, this isn't really a spell at all, I don't think. It's just human corruption. Let's be honest, if a man/woman found the egg in today's age, no doubt they keep it for profit or selfish gain. And it's the fear of not accepting life as it should be treated and fearing death that causes this type of corruption. Anyway, Venga opens the cell and they plan to escape until Harper comes in. Harper ordered them to drop their weapons, otherwise Hugo dies. Not wanting that, they did so. Harper called his daughter a traitor and planned to get info from them, but they refused to tell him much at all. Harper's corruption was going even crazier. He said he planned on remaining young forever, which I don't know if he could actually do, because eventually that egg's going to hatch and the dragon's going to walk away. But anyway, Eleanor tricked Harper into bragging about his selfish actions against Byzara, which I assume Byzara overheard, as he was wearing the red jewel along with the other 5. Harper retreated, leaving our heroes to his guards. Luckily, our heroes got their second wind and kicked some butt, with Venga showing them the way out. Venga refused to leave, still trying to talk sense to her father. Eleanor wished her the best of luck, and they got their allies to safety. When Eleanor went back to find the egg, and after encounter with Byzara, Eleanor made a run for it, not bothering to look back, continuing her search for the egg. Eleanor continued her search until she bumped into Harper once again, asking her for the egg. Still refusing, and a scuffle took place, causing the egg to hatch. Harper knocked Eleanor aside and scooped up the hatchling, running away. Eleanor, for some reason, thought she had lost, when obviously it's the dragon that contains the power. So the egg smashing isn't really a crime. I mean, you still have a chance to snag the child back. But anyway, Byzara tailed Eleanor for a bit until she had her in her sights. More tension on the side there. Tom, despite being an old man now, was still willing to put his life on the line to save Eleanor. And for those who are wondering why doesn't Tom just let the fire hit him, so he could get his youth back, you have to remember that he's blocking it so Eleanor won't lose her youth. Yes, he cares about his friend so much he'd rather rot of old age than let his friend lose her youth. Tom blocked the attack, but lost his footing. Byzara was about to go for round 2 when she spotted Harper with her baby going in pursuit. Harper threatened he would drop the child if she came too close. Daltic told Eleanor to shoot Harper, at first not getting why, but he replied, apples. Now I should have brought this up earlier, but I didn't expect this type of payoff from this story. Earlier on, on their way to the fortress, Daltek was using his magic to play with some apples, with some hover magic, and thus Eleanor took the shot, and Daltek saved the dragon baby with a hover spell. The baby was returned, and all was well, except Tom seemed to be at death's door. Everyone panicked, but Byzara took Tom away, while Harper demanded that his men kill Eleanor. They refused, as Wenger sadly knew his time was done. It was revealed too much usage of the egg/baby dragon had made Harper and his body more in need of. It was revealed, of course, that that too much usage of the egg/baby dragon had made his body more in need of that energy than ever. I wouldn't be surprised if Harper actually knew this, hence why his desperation for the egg/baby dragon. He crumbled into dust, kind of like a Thanos thing, or like a snap thing, where he crumbles into ash. Discount Thanos. With Wenger now in charge, she made her peace between the two folks, and Byzara restored Tom's youth, and Eleanor was awarded Harper's weapon. A happy ending to all. But yeah, there we have the little story for Byzara, the Horned Dragon. Obviously, one of the best specials that I think of. I'm not gonna. We still have to talk about the characters, but I'll say my brief thoughts as I go. As a story, it's got lots of different elements that make it worth an improved version of Zulok's story there with the whole motherly figure. You've got that whole immortality. Be grateful of the time you have on the planet. We've seen this done before in Coraline and an episode of Ben 10. But yeah, I think it's really well handled here. The mother aspect is brought back, and each character gets their moment to shine. Daltek gets a moment to shine, helping out with Eleanor. Eleanor takes the lead in the second half, more so in the first. Tom takes a spotlight in the first chunk, and even at his elder age, he still has his moments to shine. And the villain, one of greed. I do like a nice change instead of just another war conquering thing, because I don't think Harper is evil. It's more like he's just a desperate man who doesn't want to die. Like a lot of people that can relate to that, believe it or not. And of course, a relatable beast that you can relate with. So all these characters have a distinction you can go with. But yeah, so Tom, of course, Tom is the main hero through the first act, still trying to figure things out, but his actions lead him into trouble where he does need his allies to help him. But even though I do appreciate that, even though in his elder age, he's still willing to sacrifice himself just to protect his friend. And it also I like the fact that this book subtly develops the quote-unquote romance between Eleanor and Tom, for those of you who believe in that sort of thing, because when she thinks Tom is going to die, she has that sort of emotional breakdown, which you could see as a romantic thing. Same with Tom when he's an old man, where he thinks he doesn't want Eleanor to use her youth. So there are like some subtle romantic undertones in there for the shippers who believe in that sort of thing. So I appreciate that. But yeah, moving on, you have Eleanor who takes the lead in the second half of the story, but she does more to do in this book than I think Tom does, because even in the first act, she's very on the defensive until she feels the need to act. So I do appreciate that. She comes in a few scuffles with Harper and Byzara a few times. She reforms Wenger a bit, and she's willing to, and she kind of helps lead the villain to his defeat in a way. So overall, Eleanor, this is more of Eleanor's story than I would say Tom's, but I think she did a really good job supporting her own little solo adventure. Daltek, even though he didn't have much to do, he had more to do than he normally does, because his little ring spell helped a lot with the communication there, and you had a nice he had a little setup thing with the apples, and it paid off nicely at the end. So he had a rounded little arc for him. I'm not going to talk about like Rudiger or Hugo or Hartman too much, because they weren't really that relevant in the supporting roles. Wenger is the side character / hench girl to the main villain of this book. Wenger is the redeemable henchman. She's kind of like a mix between Petra and Rhea, with the whole pirate / warrior vibe with Rhea in there, and you've got Petra's kind of design going on with her with there. A nice fusion of the two, and it really works out well. The daughter, who slowly, as the more time he's with the egg, he gets more and more focused on and doesn't want anything else to do with anyone. So you can see where she's coming from. She wants to get her father back, and I think at this point she sadly knew he was too far gone and there's nothing she could do, but she still wanted to try. And that is a nice tragedy to her character. But it's nice to see her grow and develop from Eleanor of all characters, because she's a nice, good person to learn that from. Let's see. We did Venga. Hartha is our human villain. Well, and he again, even though he is the villain and he's taking the child, you can see some people could see where he's coming from. Nobody really wants to die, and that's what I don't really think that there was a spell on the egg at all. It's just about human corruption, or corruption in general. Humans are flawed, and nobody wants to. There are humans out there that don't want to die, and they're willing to do whatever it means to keep that, regardless of because it's the matter of fear, really. That's what's scaring. Fear of taking away the one thing you have that could stop death, and they don't want to be treated like a mortal being. They want to be treated like a god or something. So I really do appreciate that, and it's a nice human factor to the villain. So I appreciate Hartha. It's a nice change from part of that typical warlord cliche. Byzara is our dragon. She is a relatable beast. She just wants to get her child back. I mean, this probably is a thing she's probably encountered a lot when you think about it. If all her children possess this ability too, she probably has her child stolen. Maybe her child/children maybe stolen a lot, and she has to go around getting them back. So which is kind of a sad life if that's the case. But yeah, she's a strong-willed beast. She seems honorable in those like Zulok does. But if you mess with her eggs, then she's a bit ticked off with that. So overall, a good beast and a very impressive power. Her power doesn't make her any better, but it makes her opponents weaker/stronger. And if you use the ability too much on a specific target, it will turn them into dust or crush, like the final snap thing. So it is a nice consequence of the immortality power that if you have too much of a good thing, then it turns against you, which is a nice symbolic thing there. And of course she has extra wing power, so a nice little boost on the speed. But yeah, overall, Byzara is a great book, both on story, character, and of course the beast itself. In every level, there is nothing wrong with it. I really did enjoy Byzara. Hope you guys did enjoy it. I'm not sure what special book is next or what series is coming up next, but whenever future series/special is coming out, I will do so. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.